All right, welcome into a new BuffStampede Radio. Adam Munsterteiger, the publisher of BuffStampede.com, joined again by football analyst William Gardner, and we've got a lot to talk about on this show today. William, it's yesterday wasn't a great day for the Buffs from a transfer portal standpoint.
No, that's how the game is played now. I think it was a big surprise to me that Tawfiq Bayard left. It wasn't a huge surprise to me to see Omari and Miller left, and I'm of the opinion that he's not the biggest loss anyway. There's lots of wide receivers out there, and I think there's a lot of positives with Omari and Miller, but there's a lot of negatives too. He takes points off the board, so I don't know. If you want to, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're coming in here thinking I'm gonna sing the blues and cry, you got the wrong podcast, because this is the name of the game, and if you can't deal with this stuff, you probably need to get a new hobby. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at this, and there's some gray area in there. First off, I don't blame Tawfiq Bayard for making this decision. He's the one that's out there putting his body on the line. It has turned into, unfortunately, in college football, a business for these players as well. I've never had the jealousy thing towards these guys getting paid, because they are the ones that are, bringing those fans to the stadium. But that one hurts because I felt like, and it goes beyond just him as a playmaker. I think it also goes into just him in the program being a leader, a voice, one of the few guys in 2025 that you felt really kind of embodied that dog mentality that Coach Prime is trying to develop with this program.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I don't feel jealousy or whatever. I mean, once you decide to leave CU, I don't really give a rat's backside about you, because I cheer for CU players. And if you go play somewhere else, great. I'm not cheering for other teams' players. So good luck to you. I think a lot of guys go running looking for something else, whether they're chasing a little more money. And I think part of the thing to me is I don't know what the marginal difference between what we're offering and what somebody else is offering anyway. So if you're going somewhere else, for some certain amount of money, then well, that's your choice. I mean, if it's other reasons, you don't like the coaches, you don't like something else. I think there's lots of reasons why young men transfer out of our program, and it's not just the money. People can believe that if they want, but without really knowing Tawfiq Bayard and having an opportunity to talk to him face to face, we don't know what his reasons are entirely. So he's going to go do what he's going to do.
Tawfiq Bayard's going to make some money. Yeah.
Well, all these guys.
I don't. Yeah.
I can't go into the money too much, man, because I worked my ass off 20 years and didn't get paid squat what these guys are getting paid. So they're already getting paid money whether they're here or somewhere else. So I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for them. But whatever, I agree that they're the reason people come to watch the games. And if you're the entertainer, you should get the money, I guess. I think it's ridiculous what we pay athletes anymore anyway, but
we got a message from Paul Noto 7757 in the online chat. I'll start it out. I think we have to acknowledge how bad these losses are and not try to sugarcoat it. It's all going to be okay slant. We just lost two of our three best players. That sucks. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, but you're going to get some talent back. And there's no way to bring in talent right now because the portal doesn't officially open until January 2nd. So it's going to be maybe a tough 2-week stretch until we get to that point. And you hope there aren't more Tawfiq Bayard types that hit the portal. Most of the guys, William, that have hit the portal, though, I mean, we saw it coming for most of those guys.
Well, these are the only two that are really a loss to me, frankly. I mean, Jaheim Otis was a disappointment on the field, but he wasn't going to get better because he is who he is, and so these are the first two I think that kind of hurt, but I don't think anybody's on here is trying to sugarcoat anything. I think
it sucks, but it's also not like you said before we hit record, it's also the sky is not falling. You have an opportunity to build this roster, and there's some excitement with Brennan Marion. We'll talk about his contract in a little bit. Tawfiq Bayard is a very, very good football player. He's not irreplaceable.
Yeah, and Omarion Miller, we got a good wide receiver room. I'm not the guy sold on Omarion Miller anyway. I think he shows some talent, but he also shows that he's not dedicated to the game like a Jimmy Horn or LeJontay Wester, and if he doesn't, he's not going to make it at the next level if he doesn't find that. But it's a loss certainly. But wide receivers, he's just position to fill out there. I think losing Tawfiq Byard is. We were planning on him to be the heart of this defense and to be the leader in the offseason and what have you. You pointed out in your list of positions, we got 3 decent safeties coming back, but I think we need I think we still need that leader. I think we still need to bring in somebody from the portal who's going to be that guy, and I would say, I think there's so many people on the board, and maybe even in the comments here, there are some people that just show up when things go wrong, and it's all negative. It's the only negative and whatever. But I think there's positives to be seen here. I think 2 years ago we saw, well, 1 year ago, however you want to look at it, 2024. That team won 9 games primarily off of guys we brought in the portal the year before. Obviously there was Shador and Travis were on that team as well. But I think that shows, for one thing, how important a quarterback is. And I think we got a quarterback this year. I think we got an offensive coordinator who knows what he's doing this year. So that's a big darn deal on the offense. Now we're going to need to shore up and rebuild that defense. And I know we got a question we're going to have later on about what happened with the defense this year, and I'm looking forward to that one. But we brought in that year. We brought in some guys that were tremendous difference makers in the front 7, and we need to figure that out and make that happen in the off season this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Anything else you want to add on this? It's not something that I want to gloss over because it is a big story, Tawfiq Byard, and we're spending more time on him. And it's not to be disrespectful to Omarion Miller. He had a very impressive statistical season, was a second team all conference selection. There's no reason to carry on over topics we've already talked about with just him not being a complete receiver. But they've been fine at receiver under Coach Prime, and there's enough talent in the pipeline. Again, you kind of touched on that a little bit, and we're going to get more into that as we get into this podcast. To me, there's only been one really negative deflection to the portal so far. I think there's going to be at least one more, but I don't think I don't think you need to stop being a CU fan right now.
Well, yeah,
if you've been through the last 20 years.
Right. I mean, I understand people that say, this sport is becoming less and less interesting because it's becoming less and less interesting to me as well. And I get that with the way it's going. If these 2 guys leaving is what breaks you, well, then probably it's time to move on anyway. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, probably go find something more happy to do. But this is going to be the reality. I think why this hurts so much right now is that, aside from Marion, we haven't had any good news yet this offseason. And so we're waiting. And all we're going to see for a while is losses and no additions. So it's kind of difficult in that kind of vacuum to only have negative stuff like this coming out. And some people who are not patient is going to make them a little crazy, I guess, but we're going to start.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride every transfer cycle under Coach Prime. Every single cycle, even the ones where they've substantially improved the roster, there was a moment of panic in there.
Well, and that's my point, I guess, is that this is the new college football, and you got to deal with it. It's easier if you got a roster full of guys that are coming back, and you got when you got a Shador and a Travis Hunter still on your team. Makes you feel a lot better about a lot of things, right? I think people should feel great about Brendan Marion coming on board. That's the big news. That's the lead right now. But guys are going to leave, man. It's the transfer portal era, and that's the way it goes. And let's face it, you're going to have 2 kinds of guys that leave: guys that aren't having much impact on the team, and they're going to go somewhere else, maybe lower. But then the other guys that are going to leave are guys that have options to go, to other comparable sorts of places, So I think you get a guy who's shown something like Tawfiq Byard. I don't really know why he's leaving, okay, and only he really knows. but when guys are showing some things, they're going to have an opportunity, and when you got opportunities, it gives you choices to make. So this is how it goes, I don't know. I'm not sure how else to look at it.
Dano_Skos wrote in the chat, college football sucks except on game day. I will say aspects of college football suck not on game day, but I think that there's still there's still great stories that come even in the transfer portal era. And it's unfortunate because it seems like those moments are just so quick of, getting to know these players and then having to say goodbye. And you had a little bit more invested emotionally with these players as a college football fan in the past. But, every preseason camp, there's so many great stories that are in the program. And recruiting is still going to be, something to keep a track of here going forward. And so it's not all, it's not all that doom and gloom, but if you get nostalgic about college football, it can be tough sometimes to think back to kind of the purity of it before we got into this NIL age.
Well, wait till you get to my age, and that's the nature of life, is change. And if you can't handle change, that's why old people are always like, things suck nowadays, back in my day. But there's somebody else, DREX99 says the offense really wasn't the issue this year. And I'm going to take issue with that, because the offense was the issue, because several times in this season, we held the other team to 20, 21, 17, whatever. We didn't win the darn game. When you hold a team in this conference under 25, you should win that game. So the defense did their job in some of these games, and the offense, did the offense ever score more than 25 points? The offense killed this team, and all the 3 and outs didn't help the defense at all. So I think Brennan Marion is a huge, I can't overstate the importance of that guy to this program. And it's also going to pay off in recruiting, because he's a high level recruiter and a high energy recruiter. And I think he's going to hold people on his offensive staff to higher standards.
Could be the most important hire of the Coach Prime era. We'll see how it plays out. I was going to mention at the top, this is I'm dealing with COVID for the 3rd time, and I'm doing just fine. I don't need any sympathy out there, but I do find that the brain fog is just, sometimes it just kind of kicks in, and I'm a little bit foggier than normal in case I seem off at all during this podcast, but I'm doing just fine. It kind of comes in waves. It's like I'll feel just completely normal for like 2 hours, and then a 15-minute stretch, I like face plant on the bed. So I'm getting through it. I got through the worst part of it, and this is my 3rd bout with it. And the previous 2 were a lot worse. So I feel just fine. But have you had COVID before?
Well, I think I had it a while back. I don't really, I haven't had a test for it, but I think most people are listening to you and going, "What are you talking about, Adam? The other guy's got brain fog all the time. You don't have COVID."
We're soldiering through. I feel much better today than I did yesterday. It was, I was actually kind of grateful when I tested positive, because I knew something was off, and I just kind of wanted to know what was going on. So I tested positive, and then like within an hour stretch, Omarion Miller and Tawfiq Byard hit the portal. It was like, oh man, it was just like, and then the wind is picking up around here. Wind Mageddon took a thrashing to our backyard. How was it down where you live?
I was downtown a little bit yesterday, and it was I couldn't almost walk into the wind, so it was so strong. But I don't know.
Yeah. Moving on. Okay. Jaheim Otis, you said also in the portal. TJ Branch, a safety. I think TJ Branch has got that dog mentality. I don't know if he has the frame for that to hold up as a safety at the Power 4 level. Maybe as he matures. But he's a pretty lanky dude. I like his game. I would like to see him in the program, but that's not, a defection that you're losing sleep over.
No, that he wasn't the guy that I was counting on next year. I think TJ Branch brings up again the theory of how you build teams now. If you bring in a bunch of high school guys, if they're not playing year one, how many are going to leave? That's the nature of the game now. You bring in 25 guys out of high school, and half of them are probably going to leave after year one anyway. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So this is not new news, but it's something that we have not reacted to on the podcast yet because it happened right after we finished our last show. And that is Brandon Marion getting his contract extended or contract approved by the Board of Regents. Unanimous. That's always good when you see the backing of leadership at CU, a 2-year, $3 million deal with the Buffaloes. And that makes him the second highest paid assistant coach in Colorado football history. I was telling Brian, William, I think that if you asked me what I would guess he was going to make, it would be 1.5. That seems like a pretty standard deal for somebody with his experience and what he's going to be able to bring to the table.
Yeah, and I hope he lives up to that. I mean, I don't think it's big news that his contract got approved. I don't think, the whole sort of Regents thing has always been kind of a joke to me. They've never really done anything that hurts the program. So it's good to have that done and have that off the table. And now we just got to move on to filling in the rest of the staff and making those changes there.
Yeah. And this video that's embedded in that story, it's great stuff from William. He kind of broke down some of the keys of the go-go offense. And so if you haven't checked that out yet, I would definitely recommend doing that. Congrats to Maurice Williams, a Colorado signee in the 2026 class, going to play cornerback for the Buffs. He is a back-to-back state champion with Edna Carr, one of the top programs out in New Orleans. And you've got a couple Buffs. Braylon Edwards is going to play in the state championship game out in Texas, 6A D1 title game. And then you've got Carson Crawford, Colorado's highest rated signing during the early signing period. And he's going to be playing with the Bulldogs in the 4A 2D state championship game this weekend. Unfortunately, a fellow future Buff offensive lineman, Xavier Payne, fell with his Jones teammates in the title game last week. So, a lot of the guys that were in this recruiting class, they're going to come in with having a lot of success in their back pocket coming in from the prep ranks.
I think that makes a difference to have guys that are used to winning and have been on championship teams. That generally means they're well coached and have a good attitude and more of that dog mentality of expecting to win. So they come in and they expect everybody else to do the kind of things that it takes to win. So it's always good to see those guys do that. I think there's guys on this in this recruiting class that have a lot more talent, a lot more ability to impact this team early than a lot of people think.
All right, we're going to get into a couple other stories and talk more about some of the offseason news, and then we're going to get into a mailbag. First, though, we've always got to check in with our wonderful sponsors on BuffStampede Radio. Is your business growing but not quite ready for a full-time CFO? Macaulay Capital offers fractional CFO services for companies doing more than $3 million in annual revenue. You get expert financial leadership without the full cost. Learn more about how you can improve your business's profitability and cash management at MacaulayCapital.com. If you know Boulder, you know the Hungry Toad. We've been serving this town since 1991, long before the lines on Pearl Street. Just north of campus, we're your local British pub with proper fish and chips, quality burgers, a scratch kitchen, real English cask ale, and no tourist fluff. We support CU football, women's soccer, and the loyal fans who keep it local. The Hungry Toad, Boulder-born, Buffs proud. We got to get back to the Toad again, William. I know it hadn't been too long ago, but I've been jonesing for some of their food.
Yeah, it's time to get back there soon. I think we're getting ready.
So every summer leading up to preseason camp, we do a top 40 Buffs countdown. It initially was only returning players because or guys that were on campus for spring ball. And then we kind of opened it up to once the transfer portal became more of a thing to basically everybody on the roster. And it's just projecting who we think are going to be the 40 most impactful Buffs. And every year we're going to be right on a lot of stuff, and we're going to have some misses in there. This year, there were some misses in it. It just a lot of guys that we expected to do better than they did. Let me get into the story here. So preseason, we had Jordan Seaton number 1. Where would you re-rank him?
Well, I'm trying to pull up this where I can see this on here, but I think if we were just looking at Jordan Seaton in terms of pass blocking only, he would still be number 1, because I think he established himself as one of the top 2 or 3 pass protection and offensive tackles in the nation. But he struggled a bit with run blocking this year, which I think would make this offense really good for him if he stayed in the new offense and really honed his run blocking. So I would, and then I think, I'm not sure it's kind of hard to drop him down, but I would have other people over him, looking at your.
Yeah. So I re-ranked him at number 4. And actually, I would say kind of along what you're saying is that for most of the season, I actually think Jordan Seaton probably would have been number 1 on this list, but just, and it's not his fault that he got injured or whatever, but just his play kind of dipped later in the season. So I went with some other guys that were higher on there. Tawfiq Byard, I thought was the most consistent Buff this past year.
And I don't think Jordan Seaton was our best offensive lineman this year. He might not have been number 2 even, but Zarian McGill was clearly our best offensive lineman this year. And that doesn't mean that I think Zarian McGill has more long-term potential than Seaton, because he doesn't. It's just that in terms of this year and 12 games played, Zarian McGill played at a very high level in all 12 of those games, and I think Xavier Hill was right up there as well. So I wouldn't say disappointed in Seaton this year, but he really needs to focus on that run blocking as well to get up there. But I would have dropped him down. Tawfiq Byard to me was unquestionably the number 1 player on the team this year, which makes him leaving even tougher. And I agree with you, Amari McNeil, even though he missed some games, I think people don't see what a defensive lineman does unless he's in the backfield making tackles and sacks all the time, and I think what Amari McNeil did this season was very high level, was very highly graded. So I think he was impressive. So those like you have in there would be my top 3 as well.
Okay. And shout out to Scott Proctor from DNVR. He broke a story here this week that there is a potential chance with some potential rulings with eligibility coming this offseason that Zarian McGill, if he can get another year, would come back to Colorado. And I don't know what the odds are on that at this point. If that could happen, that would be huge.
That would be huge.
He was like the most consistent center the Buffs have had in a really long time.
Yeah, and the only reason I really believe the only reason he wasn't first team all conference is because we didn't win enough games. And you like it or not, a lot of those all conference teams really kind of are somewhat based on the success of the team itself. I think if Zarian McGill comes back, he's one of the top centers in the conference, and that's a really good start for an offensive line.
Yeah. We had DJ McKinney number 2 on our list. Where would you kind of re-rank him, you think? Would he be in your top 10?
I don't know about the top 10. I think he drops significantly. I think he was a disappointment. I think that, several guys on here are going to be disappointments from where we thought in the beginning of the season. And so I think McKinney just really didn't live up to what we expected. And maybe that's because last year he got to play opposite Travis Hunter. I don't know, but he would drop down. I think Arden Walker was a disappointment to me a little bit as well. I really thought he would step up and be more of a BJ Green type impact all the way around.
Yeah, Preston Hodge, we had really high on the list, and he got better as the season went along, but it was a rough start to the season for him.
Yeah, and kind of almost was a bit of a non-factor this year, quite frankly.
Draylon Miller, we had 6, and now this is something with Brennan Marion that I think I might be bullish on Draylon Miller again going into 2026 because I think he's going to fit into the system. He and DeKalen Taylor, to me, are going to be very good tools for Marion with his scheme.
Yeah, and possibly Cam Michael. I mean, I think a lot of the athletes on this team are really going to benefit from that offense in terms of one of those 2 running back spots. There's been a little bit of focus on what the wide receivers will do, but there are going to be opportunities for some of these guys in that offense that are really going to showcase their speed and their abilities.
Just a reminder here. Somebody said DJ at number 2. Y'all were drinking the CP Kool-Aid.
Well,
he was pretty solid playing opposite Travis Hunter in 24, and
you can and you're going to be a non-starter with me with that Coach Prime Kool-Aid garbage, because I don't drink anybody's damn Kool-Aid. I look at what happened last year and base my opinions this year on that. I'm not drinking anybody's damn Kool-Aid. The guy had a good season last year, and he was super solid, and it was reasonable to expect that he would step up another level. That's generally what people do. So I think he was at that spot based on reasonable expectations from last year. I think a lot of people going into this season had a lot higher expectations for this season, so there's a lot of disappointments all the way around.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too, is we're not hiding from our preseason expectations. I like going back and just saying this is where we were wrong and what went wrong there. Can we talk about that? Let's have a discussion. Samuel Okunlola, number 7, not a crazy opinion back in the summer, but he was hurt and didn't play. He played a handful of snaps against Georgia Tech, and that was it. So, I mean, it is what it is. 33 defensive snaps in the season. The one everybody was the most wrong on was Caden Salter. We had him at 9, which was not crazy high, but especially given the importance of his position. I don't know. Do you have that as part of your criteria for these votes?
What do you mean?
Of like the impact of a position? Like, well, you're gonna rank a quarterback higher just because his impact is going to be more valuable.
Well, we debate that every single year. And then last year, when I said Travis Hunter's number 1, and you guys had Shedeur number 1, I think, primarily for that reason. And I've said every year that, I don't know, you told me I'm ranking them based on who I think is the best player on the team, not the most important player to the team.
Yeah.
So I think it's how you see it. To me, it's about whether he's the best player. I think, frankly, if you want to do the most important player, quarterback could be number 1 every year, right?
Right. Yep. No, and that would make the countdown kind of pointless. So I don't disagree with you. I had Travis Hunter number 1 year and Shedeur number 1 the other year, and I had different reasoning behind that. But it makes for fun discussion, and that's why we're doing this. Number 10 on our preseason countdown was Carter Stoutmeyer. I didn't have him on my re-ranked top 10, but he ranked actually pretty well by PFF. Again, kind of like Preston Hodge, was kind of rough out the gates early in the season, but it seemed to get better as the season went along.
And I think Carter Stoutmeyer is hurt a little bit by the fact that he's a quiet guy and doesn't bang his own drum a little bit. I think he played better than some people think he did. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next year, with another year under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, there's a comment in here about he did get definitely beat quite often, but I thought that was reduced substantially from Carter Stoutmeyer in the second half of the season.
Yeah, and that's what you want, really. You get better in the second half of the season, So I don't know. I'm looking down your newest. You would talk a little bit about some of the guys that you added to your top 10. Let me think. I think Joseph Williams, you got at number 7 now. We had him at 14 before. I think he showed a lot of very positive things, and excited to have him back. So I think I was excited about him from the start. I don't remember where I had him ranked on my list. And then I know I had Xavier Hill ranked higher than 17 on my list. But I always expected he was going to come in and be a big impact guy.
Yeah. And like we said, DJ McKinney comes in at number 9 on my re-ranked top 10, and Keaton Wade at number 10. You can go back to the 2024 countdown too on here, and I'll tell you, like, you look at the re-ranked top 10 here, you're going to see a little bit different. Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, LeJohntay Wester, DJ Green, Cameron Craig. DJ McKinney was number 6 on my re-rank last year. So again, to an earlier point we just made.
Right.
Arden Walker was actually probably better as a junior. He wasn't bad as a senior. He just didn't make that jump that we expected.
Well,
Jose Wankwo, 8. Vance Bentley 9, Jordan Seaton 10. Like this is the list right here. This is what you need.
But you look at Arden Walker. He didn't make that step up this year, and I think that's because last year he was the number 2 guy, and I mean he was opposite BJ Green, right? And this year he wasn't playing opposite somebody. Somebody was playing opposite him, and he didn't step up to that BJ Green level.
Yeah. Yep. No, but you can see the difference between a 3-9 team and a 9-4 team, right?
Yeah.
When you re-rank these top 10, I mean, this is a legit list there. All right, let's move along.
Put that re-rank from last year back up there, would you?
Okay.
Because I want to look at that. I don't want to look at real quick. We can find that.
Yeah, you want down here?
Well, last year's final re-rank.
Oh yeah, got it.
Wherever that is, because I'm curious to see. So on the final re-rank there, okay, we've got Travis Shador, LeJohntay Wester. He was a guy that came in for the portal last year. BJ Green is a guy that came in from the portal that year. So keep going down there. Chidozie Nwankwo was a new guy from the portal that year. So I think you can look at that list.
Keaton was a freshman addition.
Yeah, and I think so. What I guess my point is that a lot of people may think, oh my God, it's the end of the world and CU football swirling the down the drain, right? But it just goes to show that you can bring in the guys that, and I think I'm going to address this when we talk about what happened to the defense this year. You can bring in guys in the transfer portal this year who can put you right back up on that level. You know, I mean, it's there. Now they got to do it.
Yeah. All right. I also projected the positions that will need the most help during the upcoming transfer portal season, William. I did this, and this is when I realized that maybe I had COVID, because it took me about 4 times as long to write this story as it should have. It took me like a really long time. I just could not get there. But I had to revise this thing day one, which didn't make me happy. So we had to move some stuff around here. We'll get into it. Punchers, the only thing I can think of, William, that this football team does not need right now.
Yeah, well, you know, we got a 35-year-old punter, so he ought to be pretty good at his deal.
26, but close enough. Yeah. Linebackers got to be number one in terms of transfer portal priority, right? That was one of those where I didn't even have to think about that.
Well, as it currently stands right now, there are no linebackers except Kylan Salter. You know, the others are all in high school. So, you know, and Salter's guy, I don't know if he's staying or not with his brother leaving. You know, I've said many a time that you look at him in shorts and t-shirt and you think that's what an NFL linebacker looks like, but he hasn't so far yet shown that he can translate it to game play, you know, and being a linebacker is more than how you look. It's really that ability to read, diagnose, and make reactions right off the bat. So I don't know if he's going to make it improve or not, but we've got to bring in 4 or 5 significant linebackers in this offseason. And you know, we got to do, you know, we got to find a Cahill Green type, you know, and he was a guy who hadn't done it yet at this level, but he had been at Michigan for a minute, and he had shown really good play at the lower. I mean, he was dominant at the lower level. So we need to find those guys and bring them in and get 4 or 5 of them, and not just 1 or 2 of them this
year. Yeah. Number 2 on my list was cornerback, which was not something that I expected to be the case under Coach Prime. But and if DJ McKinney does come back, then I think that you're going to see somebody that's going to be pretty fired up in 26 to you know, prove some people wrong. I thought RJ Johnson was starting to come on a little bit right when he got hurt. You've got to really bolster this position, though, through the portal, because if you have the greatest at that position in the head coaching office, as I wrote there, you got to be able to attract some top level talent.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of players out there. I mean, you've seen a lot of guys go into the, you know, so far there have been I think a record number of guys going into the portal. So there's a lot of possibilities out there. You know, we got some guys, you know, in McKinney, Harge, Johnson and Vickers and a couple guys coming in who can give us some playing. I would like to see a new cornerback coach, but that may be a differing opinion. But we got to get the talent in there. We got to get them in here for spring ball and see what they can do.
Yeah. Defensive tackle. I really like Tawfiq Thomas and the fact that he's going to be able to come back next year. I thought in 4 games of action when he was out there, he was one of the more impactful players they had at that position. Brandon Davis-Swain, another young guy. But aside from that, we saw this year when you had to move guys over from other positions to the defensive tackle room, when we thought that was the most deep unit on the entire team, that you can never have enough of those guys.
Well, the crazy thing is, I think we had about 9, 10, or 11 guys that we felt like could really play, and they just had so many damn injuries. They were down to nothing at the end of the day, and so many of them missed games. I think we have Tavian Coleman as a possible returnee, and I think if he came back, he's also a very high-level player. See, Wiggins needs to be at edge, and Monty can't be on the defense at all, period. Gabriel Lightfoot, if he gets that next year, I think he's a guy that still can give us a lot of really good plays. I would see him as a backup type, but a very high level backup. But if you look at that 2024 team, that 9-win team, a couple of the keys to that team that we brought in through the portal that year. The first one I would say was block bully, Jose Nwankwo, who required a double team every single time and didn't get moved an inch. We need that guy. We don't have that guy right now. We need a BJ Green, a guy, and both BJ Green and Jose Nwankwo were proven in this conference, had done great things. BJ Green at Arizona State and Nwankwo at Houston. And then we brought in the Kai Hill Green, so we need to bring in a couple of really top level defensive tackles. And I don't think we want to take guys like Jaheim Otis again, who have been in a top program for a few years and hadn't done anything. I prefer either the guys like Nwankwo who had shown something at this level already, or guys at a lower level who have been dominant at that level. So, I think we do need to add 3 or 4 guys at that position. I hope we get Pecco's other kid, because 6'3", 310, he's a guy, he's a load in the middle too. So
yeah, Joseph Pecco will be announcing at the All Poly Bowl. I think that's mid-January is when he's going to be making that announcement. And I like the chances of Colorado getting him. But
I'm going. Next, I've been invited to the All Poly Bowl. Do you believe it? Can you see it?
You got to share more on that. What was the context of how you got invited to All Poly Bowl?
I didn't get invited. I got invited to the all vampire pale faced guy.
Well, everybody needs their group, I guess.
Right.
And you've got yours.
I got invited to the Burst into Flames in the Sun Bowl.
Specialist is number 4 on my list. Buck Buchanan and Alejandro Mata both walked on senior day, like I wrote there. I've heard some rumors that maybe this eligibility stuff needs to figure itself out, because it's really hard to figure out who's going to be back. There's some rumors that maybe one or both those guys could come back somehow. And I'm like, I look at like the bios. I'm like, I don't see where that's the case. But
let me ask
the NCAA just doesn't want the drama right now, so they're just granting eligibility like candy.
Is that going to clarify, you think, after this year and the next, with the COVID class moving on and the JUCO thing moving on?
There just keeps. The NCAA doesn't want to keep getting sued. And so like, I think they're trying to avoid litigation with a lot of this stuff. And so when you get some of these folks that are trying to get extra eligibility, they're just getting it a lot easier than they used to, back when the NCAA would just say no, and really had a strong arm on that. Too much so. There were a couple guys that transferred to Colorado back when you had to sit out a year if you were going to transfer. And they had like legit family reasons for wanting to transfer back to CU, and the NCAA would say you're not eligible. So it's completely flipped on the other side.
Well, completely. Look no further than Tyler Brown 3 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 100%. And now he might be coming back. I don't, but like, I think he maybe needs to go to a different level.
I think, with clearly we need a kicker or two. I don't know. Hopefully you can get one kicker.
If you can get one that can do both, that would be great.
You already know that how much I enjoy this topic. So let's move on.
We'll just highlight
this. Kickers, hooray!
Well, we need a long snapper too. Does that bother you? No, you like long snappers.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's lots of long snappers out there, and it's one of those positions that is critically important, but it's not very sexy to talk about.
All right, O-line. Do they have both offensive tackles returning? That makes a big difference here. Philip Houston, Kareem Harden. Do they definitely have that extra year of eligibility? That would make this different.
Well, it's like the entire offensive tackle position is in limbo because every single one of them's got a question mark next to their name. If Larry Johnson and Jordan Seaton, we know what the question marks there. If they're both back, they're the starters, right? And Philip Houston and Kareem Harden, if they both get another year of eligibility, man, that's a couple of pretty solid players right there. I still think Philip Houston's got a bright future if he can overcome that knee. So the whole darn, Andre Roy is coming back, presumably. I guess there's nobody we can say sure thing until the portal's closed, but
yeah. There are a few guys like Julian Lewis is committed to being a Buff. I've heard that Joseph Williams is committing to be a Buff. I've heard that Draylon Miller is committed to being a Buff. I've heard that Michael Welch is committed to being a Buff. There, what I maybe need to do is pull up a list here of guys that I've heard that they're definitely fully bought in.
But if Seaton and Johnson are back and Houston and Kareem Harden both get that extra year, along with Andre Roy, man, we are 5 deep at offensive tackle with guys I have no problem putting out on the field.
Yeah.
On the inside, I think if we got McGill back, that would settle the center position, and then Yaya and Chauncey could fight whoever we bring in from the portal for guard. I think we probably need 4 guys out of the portal, and I don't know. There's rumors. There's chatter about Cooper Lovelace getting another year too. Who's another solid guy at all 5 spots. But I'd like.
What is eligibility anymore?
Right. No. But I'd like to see 4. I'd like to see what we did last year and bring in another 4 really legitimate guys who have played at this level, because almost everyone we brought in last year had played at this level. Xavier Hill was from a lower level, but he was dominant All-American at that level. So let's get more of those guys, and let's keep the offensive line as a strength. And I think this offense makes it easier for the offensive line as well.
This to me is the position group that's in the most limbo right now.
Yeah.
And it could be really positive, or it could be kind of having to rebuild most of the dang thing again if things don't go well.
Right.
Number 6, I moved receiver up a few spots after Omari and Miller hit the portal. There's still some solid talent with Joseph Williams, Hakeem Williams expected back, Quentin Gibson, Quinnell Farrakhan Jr., and Terrell Timmons. But you're going to need to bolster this group a little bit. You do have a couple of prep guys coming in, and we've seen Chidozie Wankwo go after one of his buddies from Charleston State that put up some decent stats as a receiver. So they're going to add at that position. 6 might even be too high just because I'm not as worried about it. But you do need to add some talent there.
Because there's some guys, Joseph Williams, I think, is a star in the making, and aside from that, Gibson and Farrakhan were both pretty solid as freshmen. So, and wide receivers, there's a million of them out there, and there's a lot of good ones. So I would like to see guys with more of that Jimmy Horn and LaJohntay Wester heart. You know what I mean? That just fight for every reception, and neither one of them made significant mistakes. And so, get a couple more guys like that, because quite frankly, I'd trade Omari and Miller for either one of those guys in a heartbeat.
Hakeem Williams is kind of a sneaky wild card player for 26 because before he got hurt, and this is a former 5-star recruit that made some plays at Florida State, but didn't quite live up to that kind of 5-star hype.
Yeah.
But I thought when they targeted him this past season, he was pretty solid before he got hurt.
Yeah, and he's a guy, you want to keep seeing that development from him, but he's also got a high ceiling still, and so he's not a guy. He's a guy I think that you look at and hope for. I wouldn't hang everything on him. Joseph Williams is a proven commodity, So I think there's some talent in this room, and I think we need to fill it in with a few more guys. But I think there's a lot of guys out there that we can do that with.
Quarterbacks on there, not because of anything at the top of the depth chart currently, but just because you've currently only got 2 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster. Even just to get through practice, you're going to need some more quality arms on the roster to be able to get through now. You hope you can do better than a Gavin Cold, but you're probably not going to get a blue chipper out of the transfer portal, given that the expectation is Julian Lewis has got the keys to this offense going forward.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need an NFL quarterback in this offense. You just need somebody who can, like as Marion says, a guy who can distribute the ball. So we need a couple of guys in there because you're not going to make it through the season with 2 quarterbacks in terms of injuries and stuff, things like that.
Yeah. Safety, I moved that up with Byard. That was actually last on my list because of, you look at Byard, Stoutmeyer, Slaughter, Finiseth going into Thursday, or what day was that? Wednesday, going into Wednesday. Today is Thursday. You had 4 pretty established, experienced guys at the position, which is, as I wrote here, very rare for Colorado. It seems like that position has been one where they've only got 1 or 2 guys that have done much at this level from an experience standpoint, and you've really got to reload there. But with Byard hitting the portal now, we need you need another dog in there.
You need a high-level guy, and I'd like to have a leadership. You look at the 9-win season, and we had 2 very high-level safeties there with Shiloh and I don't know why I can never remember this guy's name.
Cameron Silvercraig.
Yeah. So I would like to see one
just
more.
Just call him the Shark. Just call him the Shark.
I look, you look at Stoutmeyer and Slaughter and Finiseth. I think out of those 3, Slaughter's probably the best based on how he played at the end of the season, but they all have question marks. I mean, Ben Finiseth is a smart guy and really, knows the game, but he's athletically limited. Stoutmeyer hasn't really lived up to his potential quite yet. So I'd like to bring in another guy, another Byard type guy to maybe be that number 1 safety.
Number 9 was tight end. I feel pretty good about Zach Atkins. As I wrote here, I think that another year of that jump up from D2 to this level, I think he's going to be quite a bit better. He was really not asked to block much at all at his previous stop. And so there were times that he was pretty woeful in that, and other times that he was pretty serviceable. And there were some really nice things I felt like he did his first year here and seems to have the right attitude. Another guy that seems to be fully committed to this football program. I don't know if Savell Smalls is going to try to get another year of eligibility. This position should probably be higher on the list because, there's not a whole lot of established playmakers on there. And there's certainly no, as I wrote here, this isn't a position group that's going to strike fear in the hearts of opponents going into the 2026 class as constructed currently. Yeah, you want to bug back on that?
I think Zach Atkins, is really kind of the perfect tight end for this offensive system. I think he got better at blocking as the year went on, and he certainly got the size to do it. So I expect him to continue to get better at that. Savell Smalls would be another solid addition if he gets that extra year. They really do use the tight end in this offense, and I think people are going to be surprised to see the tight end be play a significant role in the passing game after the way it's been for the last 10 years, I guess, frankly, with no tight end usage. So I think Atkins, is a very solid possibility there. And if they could get a no-brainer in the transfer portal, maybe we could keep a transfer tight end past spring ball, just once.
It'd be nice. And it's tough when those guys, especially Mateo, go on and have success elsewhere. It's like, why could they not make that work here?
Well, because we don't throw to the damn tight end. I mean, I think they saw that handwriting on the wall in spring ball and they got the hell out of here. And who can blame them? I mean, why stay on a team that's not going to use you? But going back to what we have now, I didn't see anything from the two freshmen, Corbin Lazier or Zane D'Souza, that makes me think they're going to be factors at this level at tight end. But maybe they surprise you. We'll see what they do.
Edge is not a high priority. I had it number 10 on my list, and that's because of Lennon Merritt and Alexander McPherson and the excitement that they're generating based off what they showed, backing up Arden Walker and Keaton Wade this past season. The question mark is Okunlola, Webb Walker. Can Pecco come in? It's the depth, but your top two guys are going to be really solid at that position.
Well, I think Quincy Wiggins goes back to defensive end or to edge because I think that's where he belongs. He's not really big enough to be a defensive tackle, although he did some solid things there. Again, I go back to one of the keys to that 9-win season was BJ Green at one of those edge spots. Now I think that both of Merritt and McPherson have his kind of upside, if not more, because they're both bigger and longer than he is. But and I think Alexander McPherson is exciting to me as Merritt. So, but it's hard. You always hear about the sophomore slump, and we've seen a lot of guys come in the sophomore year and not take that next step up. So I wouldn't want to put the whole ball of wax on those two guys, even though I think they're pretty exciting prospects.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of those positions where you rotate guys, so you can really never have too much depth.
And Quincy Wiggins is still a guy, that if it all comes together, he still has the ability to be a really top level edge player.
He made a big jump last year, and then kind of sacrificed for the team and went down to the 3-tech when they had some injuries. So I am anxious to see what he looks like in 2026. Last on my list was running back. And there is some question here. If Simeon Price doesn't get that medical, if Cam Michael moves to a different position, maybe it moves to a higher priority. But I really just think that DeKalen Taylor and Draylen Miller are going to shine in this offense. And you've got Dallin Hayden, who deserved more touches than he got in 25. And Michael Welch, who is a guy that, maybe not quite to the consistency level that you want from a feature back, but he's a nice piece in there.
And it seems like that in that offense, and they're saying in the chat that Marion's going to bring his running back coach from Sac State, so that's probably a good thing. But in that offense, it seems like they have a faster back and a larger back a lot of times, and they use them in different ways. And so we've got the guys to do that for sure. And we got all of those guys. I would love to have Simeon Price back because he really showed some things. And I think in offense like this, he would just run roughshod over people. So I'm excited about this room, with the new offense and what have you. I don't know, maybe if they can find one guy out of the portal that is a really exciting guy, that might be something to look at too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the other thing that I need to throw up here is some exciting news, William. We're going to keep our deal going with Taco Bell, it sounds like, during the off season. And so here's a look at what they got going on and what's trending with their menu right now. What are you ordering from these three right here? The quesarito, the steak garlic nacho fries, or the large nacho fries? What are you going to pick?
They all look pretty good to me. I haven't seen any one of those three yet, but any one of those three looks like it worked for me.
Nacho fries are pretty legit. Have you had those before?
No, not yet.
Well, we're going to change that. We're going to get you some nacho fries here. So look at that. That's some cheese right there.
That's grilled cheese burrito.
All right. Thank you, Taco Bell, Liv Moss. We're going to, that's not an official ad read, but we've been talking over the past week, and it sounds like we're going to continue that partnership. And got my light over here, still shining for the bell.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to get into this mailbag?
Yeah, let's do it. There's not a lot of things in there, and some of them are not necessarily.
Okay. Let me get through the ad read real quick, and we'll come back on the other side. We've got some random questions, some really random questions.
Yeah.
To get into on the other side of this. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Is your business growing but not quite ready for a full-time CFO? Macaulay Capital offers fractional CFO services for companies doing more than $3 million in annual revenue. You get expert financial leadership without the full cost. Learn more about how you can improve your business's profitability and cash management at MacaulayCapital.com. If you know Boulder, you know the Hungry Toad. We've been serving this town since 1991, long before the lines on Pearl Street. Just north of campus, we're your local British pub with proper fish and chips, quality burgers, a scratch kitchen, real English cask ale, and no tourist fluff. We support CU football, women's soccer, and the loyal fans who keep it local. The Hungry Toad, Boulder-born, Buffs proud. All right, we got some questions here. First one from Rob_O on BuffStampede.com. He asked, what went wrong with Livingston's defense this year? Why did we fall back so far? I'll let you lead off here.
Well, I think first of all, we didn't have the star power that we had the year before, and then I think we got decimated by injuries on the defensive line. And then, quite frankly, we were wrong about the linebackers we picked. If you look at the year before, what really, everybody says Travis Hunter and that's an obvious guy who was there, but really, the key of that defense last year was the way that BJ Green controlled one edge and really was a pass rush threat, and the way Chidozie Nwankwo was just unmovable in the middle, which makes a big darn difference, and that allowed McNeil to really just play his game, and get one-on-ones and beat those guys. So those two guys on the front seven, and then the combination of Nakai Hill-Green and Vontae Bentley was just an outstanding combination of linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Levante had not lived up to that ability the year before, but then he really came on as a senior, and those two guys at that inside linebacker position made all the difference. We didn't have any linebackers this year. Our linebacker play was atrocious. I think our linebacker coach sucks and shouldn't be coaching at this level. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but I think that's the biggest difference. And then we just had a lot of injuries. We didn't have the kind of play at safety that we had the year before. We didn't have we started to get the leadership from Tawfiq Byard late, but we didn't have it from the start like we had with Cameron Sumlin Craig. Mm-hmm. And we didn't get the kind of lockdown corner play either. So it's kind of hard to make adjustments when you're not getting the kind of, like, if you got two lockdown corners like we had in 24 with three really, if you had Hunter and
McKinney
and Hood, then you got a lot of options in what you can do in the front seven. I don't know what Livingston was doing, quite frankly, with his edge play this year, but it really wasn't as effective as the year before. So I don't think Livingston suddenly got stupid. I think that we just had some talent and injury issues on that defense this year, and I don't think the offense did us any favors at all. When you go three and out repeatedly, man. A lot of those games, I didn't pull up our schedule this year, but we had quite a few games where the defense did fairly well, maybe not in yardage, but in terms of points given up. And I've said repeatedly, you hold a team in this conference to 24, you should win that game.
Yeah. I think you hit on all the major points there. For me, number one would be misevaluations through the portal and just a personnel issue overall. And then
I think it's you can't overstate the importance of how we missed at linebacker.
Yeah, 100%. There was a debate on our message board about Charles Kelly versus Robert Livingston the other day. I'm like, I'd still pick Livingston. I know Charles Kelly.
He's a big year.
He's a pretty good coach, but he brought too much complex of a scheme here. Now, Livingston, I don't know whose call this was, but they were playing too much man coverage with the talent they had at that position. And that kind of led to some of those issues they had with other quarterbacks having more running lanes to break free and, punishing them on the ground. And so that's part of it. But to me, it was more of a personnel issue. Now, Coach Prime kind of talked about a mentality issue. And there just not being enough of those Tawfiq Byard type mentalities. That they had so many of those guys in 24.
Right.
So,
right.
whether you call it leadership, mentality, culture, I think it's all kind of intertwined a little bit. And I think that was missing. I put that in personnel above, and even frankly, at times, like you mentioned, some of the offensive issues ahead of more of kind of Livingston at this point in terms of blame pie for their lack of success defensively.
Yeah. And I think that, if you're talking about the players that played with that kind of leadership or urgency or whatever, I mean, the three guys that jump immediately to mind are Tawfiq Bayard, London Merritt, and McPherson, right? Alexander
Mhm.
McPherson. Alexander McPherson, man, that dude plays like his life is on the line every single play, Now we had several of those guys in 24, and we didn't have that this year, so they need to find that sense of urgency again. But really the biggest thing is to, find a couple of those guys up in the front line, and then find some linebackers that can read and react and make plays.
Yeah. And when you have the talent and the right mentality from a defense, you see a ton of gang tackling. We did not see a lot of that from this Colorado defense in 25.
Yeah.
And that,
I don't know, some people are making a big deal about the change of defensive line coach. I don't know that makes that big of a difference, but I think that Bentley and Nakai Hill Green covered up the deficiencies at the linebacker coach for sure. And I think that that those three cornerbacks did the same at the cornerback coach position. So I think there needs to be some improvements.
Yeah. Who's your daddy buff on BuffStampede.com asked, question for Rick George or our incoming athletic director: when can we expect a Balch Fieldhouse West Side upgrade? It has been talked about for years. It really has been talked about for years. Do you remember? I mean, I think it's been the entire time I've covered Colorado since 03, William, that I've been hearing about when are they going to upgrade Balch Fieldhouse?
Holy hell. I first got there in 1983 as a student and an athlete, and the damn thing was obsolete then.
Yeah. It almost is kind of having like a comeback, like almost nostalgia because of,
but
you've got all this new development around Boulder, and the dark horse is going away. And it's like, I don't like Balch Fieldhouse. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to save it, but
the thing is, we got to get an athletic director in there who can raise money, man, because where's the money for that? The first priority for money has got to be NIL, and then doing money for more facilities, and then you got to keep up with the football facilities, and improving things year to year. So really the key to it to me is the fundraising, which that athletic department has been woeful at, in my view.
Yeah. Well, Rick George, so he's been the athletic director for 13 years. Of course, he's going to be stepping down at the end of this year, as that question alluded to. I maybe asked him, William, 30 times about the west side of that stadium. And there's a certain point where it became funny, because it's like, I know you're going to get annoyed for me asking this question again, but I get asked it all the time. The latest was they had kind of a thoroughfare that was going to serve for campus, but I don't know if it had anything to do with Deion Sanders coming in and needing some resources for some other things, but I don't know if campus is really willing to put up. So it is going to take fundraising. It sounds like the idea sounds cool to kind of have this open air area. I actually really like where the press box is located right now. They're probably going to move us up to the moon after they do renovations. So I guess maybe that's why I'm not as anxious for them, because you've been up in the press box here, William. I mean, it's a pretty darn good vantage point of the field there.
Yeah. I spent a season, my game day, after I was still working for the athletic department, after playing, my game day position was right outside that north press box door.
Didn't you and Dave Logan get kicked out of there at one point for cheering?
No, I didn't. It was Dave Logan and
okay.
The two guys that had the radio show were the big guys in Denver at the time.
Joe Williams and Irv Brown. Right. Yeah. Yep.
And it was at the Nebraska game in 1999 when, both teams were 10-0 and playing for the whole ball of wax, and Platty wouldn't let them cheer in there, and I'm standing outside the door, manning my post, and Dave Logan comes out and he goes, "Hey man, can we stand out here with you?" And I'm like, "Sure, I don't care what's going on." He's like, "Well, Platty kicked us out because we won't stop cheering for the Buffs.
Yeah, Dave was great because there was no mincing of words. It's like you knew where you stood with him when he was the SID at the University of Colorado. Hope he's doing well in life. I need to reach out to him. Curtis Snyder, his replacement's doing a fantastic job, and really difficult a situation with some of the stuff he's had to deal with the last 3 years taking over. But those are both great guys. All right, let's go into an over/under from Chicken Schnitzel 79 on BuffStampede.com. Very random. This is the most random question we've ever gotten on this entire podcast.
Not sports.
Overrated or underrated filled donuts?
It depends on what they're filled with.
You can pick. So
they got donuts. They got these things at the King Supers near me. Their custard sucked, but the white filling is great. So I don't know. I didn't know that are they rated to begin with? I don't know.
Well, I guess you know what, I'm going to revise this question a little bit. I'm going to say overrated, underrated, or properly rated.
Yeah,
I'm going to say properly rated. It hits a spot a couple times a year.
Right. Right.
I can't be waking up every morning having a Boston cream donut and get through the day, but I do enjoy it randomly. Number 2. Over, under, overrated, underrated, properly rated, subtitles.
Well, I turn on the subtitles a lot anymore because I can't understand what the hell half the actors are saying. Get the marbles out of your mouth, dude.
I was thinking more like foreign film or something. I mean, subtitles on the TV, that's definitely underrated because,
At the time, I'm like, the hell that guy say, man? So I use them a lot.
We got 3 teenagers, big personalities in this house. I need subtitles sometimes, so I'm definitely going underrated on that. Okay, we've got 3 more here. Number 3 is the Grand Canyon. Is it overrated, underrated, or properly rated?
I'd say properly rated. I mean, it's a hell of a thing, but at the end of the day, it's a canyon. I don't know if you're into nature and things like that, you probably think it's great. If you don't, you don't. I don't know.
Have you been to the Grand Canyon? I guess I should have let off there.
Believe it or not, I have not.
Okay, well, yeah, it's an interesting deal because unless you're going to hike it,
right?
You get there and it's majestic, it's beautiful, It's fantastic. You take a photo, you go to the next stop. Unfortunately, the next stop looks a lot like the last stop. And you keep going to more stops, and you're like, this is the same dang thing, but I've not done this. My mother has. She's hiked down to the bottom, and you rent like a donkey and throw all your goods on the donkey back and hike down the cliff, and you sleep down there by the Colorado River at the base of the Grand Canyon. That sounds amazing. If I could ever find the time to do that, I would love to do it. That sounds great. But I would say from just the overall aspect of it, if you're trying to make a whole vacation without actually hiking that thing, it's probably overrated because you're going to see the same picture and view. I would actually say Sedona, Arizona, which is actually a little bit more beautiful than the Grand Canyon and a little bit better spot if you're going to try to do something like that down in Arizona.
Hey, I got to lay somebody threw on the board here. Ketchup on hot dogs. Discuss. That's a no-brainer. What's a hot dog without ketchup and mustard? That's just okay. We're done with that one. and as far as the Grand Canyon goes, I'd be afraid to go try to take the thing down. I'm afraid, like the donkey or the mule will look at me and go, "I'm not carrying that fat bastard. Forget it."
Well, no, it's carrying your goods. So you gotta move your own legs down there. But it's gonna take care of your.
If the donkey ain't carrying me back up, I ain't going. The one thing I have seen that I'd like to try though is you can they have tours out of Las Vegas by helicopter, and they fly out to the Grand Canyon and they set up a champagne lunch and all this sort of stuff. And
that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah. All right. This is maybe the most random of all of them. Cherry tomatoes, overrated, underrated, properly rated. What?
Don't like them. Next.
For cooking purposes, definitely overrated. I can pop a few in my mouth with a salad, but they're just not very complimentary to other things.
Sun-dried tomatoes is what I use for cooking. So
Yeah. I love tomatoes. A big Roma tomato fan. When I get some extra time in my life, when our kids go off to college, I'm gonna perfect a marinara. I've got every other aspect of like Italian cooking now, but I'm still doing the Bertolli, with my meat and everything else. And I know that's sacrilegious to folks that are Italian, so I got to get there. Cherry tomatoes will not be part of that mix. They're not the greatest cooking food. And lastly, here, overrated, underrated, properly rated root beer floats.
Well, I haven't had one in years. I mean, I used to love it when A&W was a thing and you was a drive-in just like Sonic and you go in and get a root beer float there. Those were outstanding. But aside from that, I don't really like them. But they're not really rated, are they? I mean, people don't talk about root beer floats anymore. So
That's true. I'm going to go properly rated. Yeah, again, kind of like the filled donuts. Once a year. Yeah.
And I got
twice a year, maybe 3 times. No, there's a limit on the root beer float experience for me.
Yeah, and Chicken Schnitzel 79. Your question asking privileges are revoked.
Oh no. We got a comment here from the Cork Man 6833. William Gardner, blasphemy. Only mustard. Do you like a Chicago dog? Have you had a Chicago dog?
Define that for me. Like with all the
It's got like celery salt. It's got pickle. It's got just mustard.
No, I'm not quite the purist as Cork Man, but I'm a mustard and ketchup guy.
Okay.
And for some reason, a hot dog at a game, no matter what kind of a game, baseball, football, basketball, tastes better than anything I can make at home. I don't understand that, but it just is.
You got to answer the question though. You've never had a Chicago dog, to your knowledge?
No.
So the Mustard's Last Stand, which is right by the Boulder Library, where we've done many podcasts together in person, has a really, really quality Chicago dog. So I'm going to take you there next time.
All right.
So Mustard's Last Stand, shout out to them. We got a super chat here from Don Peasy Wheezy. Great name. I live in AZ. Grand Canyon is amazing and properly rated. However, has low replay value. Sedona is less amazing, but high replay value. That's a pretty good breakdown. I like that.
Yeah, and it's like I guess I think what he's saying is like once you've seen it, right?
Yep.
Whereas
it's one of those things. It's like, I mean, the Grand Canyon. What do they call it? One of those 7 wonders of the world. Yeah. Like it's like this crazy thing, but then you see it, and then you're like, okay, what next? Whereas Sedona, there's other stuff you can do.
Now for me, for like natural, beautiful things, I mean, I go to northern Minnesota every time, man. I can go canoe on a lake and go fishing up there, and it's bald eagles and loons and bears and moose and whatever. And so that's more my thing, and that's got, every time you go there, it's something new and it's beautiful. So that I'm more towards the northern things.
All right, Buff Predictor.
Hot and dry after my time in the Marine Corps, it's just never going to be my thing.
Buff Predictor on BuffStampede.com posted downtime favorite entertainment and recommendations. I'll start with my current favorites, all on Apple TV. Severance, Pluribus, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, and Slow Horses. I've seen 2 of those. The one that I did not pronounce properly initially, Pluribus, I have not seen. Severance is an amazing show. Slow Horses took me about half a season to get into, but I'm anxious to get into season 2. I'm behind on that one. Have you seen any of these shows? Do you have any recommendations?
None of those 3, but my taste run towards different things. I don't know. I like a story that moves me.
You just need a sword going through a heart. Is that what you need?
No. Oh, wait, typecasting me, man. No, I like science fiction stuff, and I just like stories that move me. Now being put on the spot, I can't think of what the most recent.
My wife and I have recently been rewatching Star Trek Next Generation, which I hadn't seen since I was in high school, and it's actually still kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
It's kind of hokey a little bit, especially as technologies evolve, but it's
my wife and I've been watching Friends and Big Bang Theory, and that's always fun. In terms of stuff that moves me, I got all kinds of stuff out there. I don't know, The Last of Us was a pretty amazing in Series 1. Star Trek, Strange New Worlds is actually every single season's been great.
Oh, really? Okay. My
Yeah.
wife would really like that. She's a big Star Trek fan. Severance, though, I definitely recommend that if you're into just something that's a little bit different, man. It's a really good show. Slow Horses is. It took me a second to warm up to. I always do a rewatch of Seinfeld after every football season because I've seen it so many times that it kind of puts me into a place, especially having COVID right now. It just is kind of like, yeah, I don't have to think too much about it. So that's one of my favorites. I will. I'm going to delve into some stuff this off season from the entertainment thing, but I would like more recommendations. This pluribus, I got to look into that. So we'll see. And lastly, here, Farhang on BuffStampede.com stated, join Oliver for some basketball podcast. Think it'll be terrific content with both of you. And along those lines, Fat Boy Pez on BuffStampede.com said he's looking for more basketball content, particularly recruiting. So we have nailed the recruiting coverage there. They only have one senior right now. And so they had an early signee. So there's just not a whole lot going on with men's basketball recruiting right now. Oliver's killing it. I just wish more people would tune into that stuff. Like Oliver and I met up at in Boulder last year and took half of a day. And I think we got like 200 views on that. So if more people were into basketball, I would love to do more of that stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think
that's kind of my answer there.
And it's funny, it's not just a basketball thing too. I think, like when I've put up, straight football related stuff, talking about football itself, people don't really jump on it. But if it's a controversy or a coach thing or fighting about NIL or something like that, you get 10,000 views. I don't know. It's been obvious to me that like the number of views and clicks is really dependent on the good news versus the bad news. So like
it is, and that's part of why, like, I use the word compartmentalization a lot because it's like I can't just not do my job. So it's like that's the frustrating part of like when things are going negative. It's like it's out of my control. I think it was Darren Cheverini that used to say, "Control the controllables." That's kind of a popular quote from coaches, but it's true. Like you kind of have to do that, even if maybe this isn't going to be our highest viewed show ever. Today, we've had a great audience, though. We've had over 150 people, sometimes I think over 200 during this show. So I appreciate everybody out there for tuning in. And if you think we're glossing over the Tawfiq Bayard stuff, you got to go back to the beginning. We kind of addressed that from the beginning. We were going to spend 120 minutes an hour and 20 minutes just, obsessing over that. We had some other topics we had to get to.
No, and there's a lot to cover. Well, I mean, it's sort of funny, obviously when you've got a game to rehash or when you're coming up with the season, you got more to talk about. This is kind of a tough part of the year right now. And until the portal opens, we're not going to add anybody, right? So it's just going to be all who's leaving. And I noticed in 2024, we're winning 9 games a week, 9 games that year, and we're getting over 10 to 12,000 views every week. And this year, when we're 3 and whatever, it's down to like 3 or 4,000. So it really is dependent on sometimes on the positivity. But even this year, like we try to, I'm an optimistic kind of guy, man. I try to find the good side of things. I'm not going to come on here, now I've come on here, and been pretty salty sometimes, but I'm always trying to find the positive side of things, and that's just the nature of who I am, but even right now,
there's no point in being a college football fan if you can't try to find enjoyment in it. Like, and that's I've never had an issue with people having concerns and strong questions and criticisms. It's about like long term, and this is not pointed at you at all. Like you're not like this, but like just some of the people we see on social media of just like, why are you even a fan of this team? You seem so miserable.
Right. And some people only show up when bad things happen, it seems like, and I don't really understand that kind of personality either. But I think overall, looking at where we are right now, I think there's a lot of things to feel positive about. We'll see over the next couple of months if that plays out or not, in terms of what we do in the portal, positive or negative. But we've seen one significant coaching staff change already. There's rumors that there's others happening or going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see on some of that. But I think there's a lot of positive to look at right now. I mean, on the offensive staff, we're going to get a new running backs coach that's familiar with the head coach. I'm fine with the line coaches already. So the question mark to me there is, what do they do a wide receiver coach? Jason Phillips, based on what he said, simply cannot play for this or can't coach for this offensive coordinator. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not going to sit here going, I saw a post on our board today like, oh my God, it's the end of the CU football. So the one guy said, well, we should merge with CSU. I was like, what the hell? Holy crap.
Yeah. I want to give kudos to CU for announcing the Brennan Marion hire, because I thought that was a different thing we've seen during the coach prime era. A lot of times they just don't announce anything.
Right.
If they could do some more of that in the meantime, I think it's going to go a long way for a fan base that's starving for transparency beyond, because we don't get press conferences right now. So it's on the school right now to put out information to folks, and we can try to break news. And every time I do that in this era, it seems like it burns bridges, and that's not fun. So just trying to do my job. And I hope that Colorado fans, though, do get some good news here coming up pretty soon, because I think there's some excitement, also some frustration after yesterday with Tawfiq Buyer hitting the portal. Yeah,
for sure.
All right. Good show, William. Appreciate you as always. We went longer than I thought we would go. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. I had some fun with it. And, I don't know when we'll do the next one. We may get one in before Christmas, but if not, Merry Christmas to you and everybody listening. Hope everybody has a wonderful time with their family. And you know what? Maybe set this aside a little bit and focus on what really matters.
Go get you some filled donuts, watch a show with subtitles, plan a trip to the Grand Canyon, throw back a couple cherry tomatoes, and have a root beer float. And Chicken Schnitzel 79 will be happy.
And piling on there, man. So, all right, brother.
All right, we'll see you.
Okay.
Is your business growing but not quite ready for a full-time CFO? Macaulay Capital offers fractional CFO services for companies doing more than $3 million in annual revenue. You get expert financial leadership without the full cost. Learn more about how you can improve your business's profitability and cash management at MacaulayCapital.com. If you know Boulder, you know the Hungry Toad. We've been serving this town since 1991, long before the lines on Pearl Street. Just north of campus, we're your local British pub with proper fish and chips, quality burgers, a scratch kitchen, real English cask ale, and no tourist fluff. We support CU football, women's soccer, and the loyal fans who keep it local. The Hungry Toad, Boulder-born, Buffs proud.